Біля хати джавеліни хлопці заряджали, орків валять ці ракети, як святі кинджали. Хай вертаються додому, нахуй з кораблями. Що ж ти робиш, джавеліне, з тими москалями? Як стріляють джавеліни, ворог швидко гине. Джавеліне, джавеліне, любий джавеліне, 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 ой, ти джавеліне! Танки БТР підбиті, ворог відгрібає. Хоч рашисти потім збрешуть, що потерь немає. У Сибір втечуть кацапи, наш народ могутній, десь у бункері.
From the time Russian President Vladimir Putin launched his special military operation on February 24, 2022, his target, Ukraine, proved to be anything but low-hanging fruit. Ferocious though their resistance was, however, it would not have lasted as long as it did had it not been the vital weaponry and ammunition provided to the Ukrainians from numerous foreign supporters through what has amounted to a 21st century form of World War II's Lend-Lease program. Among the most noticeable weapons credited with standing up to overwhelming waves of Russian tanks, has been a state-of-the-art, infantry-operated guided missile. The Americans who produced it call it the FGM-148 AAWSM, for Advanced Anti-Tank Weapon System Medium, but many of its current users have come to call it St. Javelin, Protector of Ukraine. The FGM-148 entered service in 1996 as a replacement for the M47 Dragoon. The latest model is the FGM-148F, and an upgraded FGM-148G is in the works. Weighing 49 pounds, the Javelin has advanced electronics that have progressively improved to afford the operator fire and forget capability. Using the attached command launch unit, the operator aims and fires, the missile being spring-ejected before igniting and traveling on toward the target at a rate of 1,000 feet every 7 seconds, guided by an infrared seeker in the nose. Upon contact, the foremost of two tandem high-explosive anti-tank, or HEAT, warheads explodes against the reactive armor, clearing the way for the second warhead to reach the tank's main armor. The Javelin's warheads can penetrate steel up to 23.5 inches to 31.5 inches thick. With an effective range over 1.5 miles, the Javelin's warhead travels 213 feet before it arms, but it does produce a backblast that the user must take into account. Though its range falls below the 2.3-mile effective range of the BGM-71 tube-launched, optically guided, wire-guided, or tow missile, the Javelin is much lighter and handier for operation by a single trained infantryman. Like the tow, however, it can be mounted on a vehicle if one is available. The United States has claimed that of the first 112 Javelins it used, 100 hit the targets, both directly and on trajectories from above, where tank armor is thinner and more vulnerable to penetration. The command launch unit, which can magnify targets up to 4 times, can be removed from the weapon system and used as a lightweight optical device and night sight. Javelins have been sold to military services all over the world, and U.S. Army, U.S. Marine and Australian forces have used them to good effect in Iraq and Afghanistan, where its accuracy at greater ranges than other weapons made it useful against enemy strongpoints as well as moving vehicles. Although it has seen its share of combat since its introduction to service, it has been in Ukraine that the Javelin has attained legendary status. The country had already purchased 210 missiles and 37 launchers in March 2018, for $47 million, followed by another order in June 2020 for $150 million more. These came swiftly into play when Putin sent in the tanks, making the Russian advance a costly one on all fronts. The Ukrainians have claimed more than 230 tanks and armored vehicles destroyed thus far, although it should be noted that they have other anti-tank weapons that may have contributed to that statistic, as well. Nor is the Javelin without its weaknesses, particularly its vulnerability to losing the contrast necessary for a missile lock at dawn or dusk, or if the target shoots off clouds of infrared blocking smoke. The principal complaint from Ukrainians about the Javelins, however, is that there never seem to be enough of them. They have already received more than 5,500 missiles, and the United States and other allies have pledged to send more, but they are expensive and time-consuming to produce, $6,840 per year at $176,000 per system. In aiding the Ukrainians, the U.S. has sent off as much as two-thirds of its existing arsenal, which cannot be immediately replaced. Lockheed Martin will nearly double the number of Javelin anti-tank missiles it produces, to 4,000 a year, CEO James Tyklett said. Right now our capacity is 2,100 Javelin missiles per year. We're endeavoring to take that up to 4,000 per year, he told CBS's Face the Nation. Of late, the portable, self-guided missiles have been used to devastating effect by Ukrainian troops seeking to counter Russian armor. They've been credited with helping Ukraine halt a huge column of Russian tanks that was headed for Kyiv, Ukraine's capital, in the early weeks of the invasion. Javelin missiles have formed a key component of U.S. military aid to Ukraine since Russia's invasion began on February 24. The U.S. has sent at least 5,000 Javelin missiles to Ukraine, as well as other defense hardware, as part of its $3.4 billion military and civilian support package. Ukrainian officials estimated that the country was using up to 500 Javelin missiles per day in the early weeks of the war, CNN reported in March. Tyklett said Sunday, "The threat between Russia and China is going to increase even after the Ukraine war. Those two nations and regionally, Iran and North Korea are not going to get less active. Probably they're going to get more active." He said, "We can start turning up the heat now and ramping up production immediately. We're planning for the long run and not just in the Javelin." Tyklett added it would take a number of months, maybe even a couple of years, to get the company's supply chain to crank up, to meet the company's production goals. On Tuesday, President Biden visited Lockheed's facility in Alabama as part of efforts to push Congress to approve a further $33 billion aid package for Ukraine, which would include more than $20 billion in military assistance, Reuters reported. U.S. defense officials have expressed concern over the size of the Javelin missile stockpile. Missouri Senator Roy Blunt told a Senate committee hearing on May 3 that the U.S. had provided about one-third of its Javelin missiles to Ukraine. Fortunately for the Ukrainians, they do have a supplement of other effective light infantry anti-armor weapons and have become experienced in making every shot count. For the time being, though, the Javelin has acquired so literally iconic a place in the Ukrainian arsenal that reports have come in of a local artist creating a piece of mock traditional religious art depicting Mary Magdalene holding a javelin. Newborn Ukrainian babies have reportedly been christened Javelin or Javelina. We hope you enjoyed this episode. Don't forget to hit the like and subscribe button so you can be alerted to our next video. We'll see you again soon on Warzone.